Hi again everyone, Scott Player Pop Cult Fan here, and in this video I want to provide another update for Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie that's coming out this October 27th, and it's going to be released simultaneously in theaters and on Peacock, so that's really cool. Alright, so something interesting happened last night, the trailer was leaked online because supposedly the trailer was going to be released this week, supposedly, and between May 1st and May 7th, which is today, they were going to release a trailer for the movie, and it didn't happen. There hasn't been a trailer released yet, but supposedly it was leaked online last night, and I'm sure that everyone involved, the studio and the cast and crew, were pretty upset when that happened, when they found out, and I don't know. I don't know if the trailer will actually officially be released now or not. I don't know. I mean, it was supposed to be released sometime this past week, but still hasn't. It's May 7th now, and still no trailer. But mainly, what I want to talk about in this update video is the story. It's interesting. I mean, obviously, it's gonna basically be a similar story to the original game, right? And it's in that, in the pizzeria, the pizzeria, it's very inspired by Chuck E. Cheese, right? And I've seen production photos of it, and it does remind me of Chuck E. Cheese in a way, and it's rather fascinating, and I looked at it like a cast list for this movie, and what was rather fascinating is that there's characters in this movie that are characters that are in other games within the series. They cast an actress to play a character called Vanessa, and for those of you that have played all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, you know that the most recent game that was released, Security Breach, there's a character named Vanessa in that game, and the continuity is a little wonky throughout all of the games if you really think about it, but there's a lot of lore that tries to connect it all, if you try to follow all of that world building that all the games do and how they all try to connect, but sometimes newer games sort of contradict things about previous games. So the continuity is a little all over the place, if you ask me, within the video game franchise. And this movie, from what I've heard, it seems like it's going to be its own kind of story, doing its own thing in its own universe, and it's just sort of borrowing elements, not just from the first game, but from some of the other games as well. So it's doing a similar story to the original game, but taking bits and pieces from other games as well. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen, especially in production photos, is that there's one kid in the movie that befriends the Freddy character, which is rather fascinating. And think about all the games, right? Because Security Breach, that was the most recent game that came out, and in that game, the lead character you play as is a kid, and that character also befriends Freddy. So a certain element of this movie is kind of borrowing a lot from Security Breach in a way, and it's rather interesting what they're doing with the story. And I've also heard that they're doing things differently compared to the games, because the character Josh Hutcherson is playing, he's playing Mike Schmidt, but also known as Michael Afton as well in the games. But in this movie, apparently he's not going to be related to William Afton, the owner. So they're going to do something different with Mike Schmidt's parents in this movie, supposedly. So they're not related. Josh Hutcherson's character and Shaggy's character, William Afton, they're not going to be related in this movie, which is, something that might upset some Five Nights at Freddy's fans, but, it's still rather interesting to me nonetheless. I just want this to be a good story. I want this to be a movie that, does what the games did successfully, just being a, a horror story about a character that's trying to survive throughout the night, doing his job. I just want it to be a good story. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it would be nice if this movie, it just, was another addition to the world with established in the games. But because of some of the things that they're doing differently, obviously it's going to be, it's in its own universe, so to speak. So, but I am still interested in the story. I feel like a little bit of the story has been a bit spoiled for me because I've looked at, the cast list and things like that, and from what I've heard, it isn't interesting. It is interesting, but I feel like it's a little bit spoiled for me now, in regards to leaked information about the movie. I mean, that's to be expected if you have a YouTube channel and you like doing updates for movies. But between this and a few other movies that are in post-production, there's this writer's strike going on right now in Hollywood, and a lot of movies and TV shows have been paused with their productions. I don't think that's going to happen with this movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, because it's already in post-production, so I don't think there's any more writing to be done with this film. So this writer's strike that's going on, it's not going to affect this movie, I don't think. This movie and also Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, that's also in post-production. Bit of an update for that movie as well. This writer's strike will not affect that either. It's mainly movies that are in production that haven't had complete scripts yet, that will be affected by this writer's strike going on. But yeah, I am looking forward to this movie. I'm just a little bit apprehensive now, a little bit about the story, because I just feel like know a little bit about it now, and I've just feel a little bit spoiled, I guess, about the story. But I am still excited nonetheless. I'm a massive Five Nights at Freddy's fan, and I can't wait. Once it drops on Peacock, I'll just be able to watch it. I don't need to go to the theater to see it. So yeah, that should do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.